Six Nations 2025 is only 20 odd days away, folks, and that means seemingly every day we are getting updates on players who are either injured or in a few cases banned for at least the start of the Six Nations. Charles Ollivon was the most recent one in my newsfeed saying he is out for the entire Six Nations, which is a pretty horrendous bit of news, but that's the nature of the beast every year. Let's go through some of the guys who we will either only see partially or not see at all in the Six Nations 2025. You guys can let us know who you think the kind of biggest losses will be. I do want to start on a positive because some guys I think are tracking back for potential, getting back into rugby at the start of 2025. The likes of Dan Sheehan, he's been off since July. The Irish hooker who's has liked to get into space as some of the kind of midfielders in that Irish squad. Hopefully he's back soon, but as I said, we haven't seen him for a long time with that ACL injury. Ollie Chesham for England, I think, has been out since October. I believe he is kind of tracking relatively well. Tyke Furlong has had a bit of a rough time with injuries. We haven't seen him play a lot of rugby at all in recent times. I think October is the last time we've seen him, so fingers crossed he's back fit. And then Mason Grady for Wales, I know had surgery after that injury in November against Fiji, so I'm not sure where he is at, but hopefully he is tracking at least all right. Some guys who have been out for a while, like Josh Adams and Alex Mitchell and whatnot, these guys are back playing, which is at least a bit of good news. Wales, as if their campaign doesn't have enough pressure on it, seem to have maybe them in France, the worst of things at the moment in terms of the injury crisis. Leon Brown, the prop, has had to retire, sadly, at 28 years old. He mentioned in a kind of social media post that he's had like 3 neck operations in 3 years and has just had to hang up the boots earlier than expected. You can never blame any player for putting their health first. Obviously, that doesn't do Wales any favours because the front row is one of the areas where they are struggling a little bit, but wish him all the best in his kind of post-rugby career, but he won't be featuring, obviously, if he's retired. Likewise, Archie Griffin, I believe, we're still kind of unsure. He's had a bit of surgery, I think, on his shoulder, so his return will be under a bit of an injury cloud. Dewi Lake, with his bicep injury, the kind of co-captain alongside Jack Morgan, bicep injury means he's out for at least 3 months, so I don't think he's going to appear in the Six Nations. And then Adam Baird is at least going to miss the start of the Six Nations. So these guys are all Type 5 players, which, as I said, you feel like it's going to be the building block if Wales is going to get anything going in 2025. But Adam Baird with his knee injury is at least, I believe, only for the start of the Six Nations. So that's Wales. France have had a couple of their midfielders out. Jonathan Danty and Gael Fickou will at least miss the start of the competition with wrist and knee injuries between them. And then the worst news, as I mentioned, Ollivon with an ACL injury the entire season, basically the Six Nations and his club season. So, yeah, one of those brutal ones. Anytime you see a guy do an ACL, you feel very sorry for them. It's a long road to rehabilitation, but France have got a lot of depth. It's unfortunate for them that it's 2 midfielders, but as I believe, neither of those guys is out for the entire Six Nations, so that's at least kind of the bright side of things. For England, Manny Faye-Waboso is out for the entire Six Nations with a shoulder injury. That's a real bugger as well because I think he's looked one of the most X-factor players for Steve Borthwick's England side, which at times struggles to generate the things like the clean breaks and the defenders beaten and whatnot. He's been one of their kind of key guys in getting those numbers up, so his absence is going to be, I feel like, sorely missed. But then also, when you watch the Premiership, there are a lot of good English outside backs, so we will see how his replacement steps up. Likewise, George Furbank, I think potentially the entire Six Nations as well. Means maybe Freddie Stewart stepping up at fullback. Max Malins hasn't played for England since I think the World Cup, but he's got an Achilles injury, so I don't think would have been available anyway. But yeah, some of the backs injured for England. For Ireland, I think Tom O'Toole's ban, which has got a few people a little bit frustrated, but it's a pretty lengthy ban, means he's going to miss the first 2 rounds of the Six Nations. And then Craig Casey with that knee injury means he's going to miss the entire Six Nations. I mean, he's behind Gibson Park anyway. but yeah, you would have liked to have him as that bench guy because that's been his role for at least a couple of seasons now. For Ireland, O'Toole missing the first 2 rounds, at least we will see him back in green. For Scotland, Johnny Gray is in doubt for the start of the competition with his ankle. We haven't seen him play for Scotland for quite some time, so I do hope he gets back because I do think he offers in the second row that big bit of kind of work rate, tackling machine that is his kind of unique selling point. And then Adam Hastings with his jaw fracture is in doubt, and likewise Freddie Douglas with an ankle injury is in doubt. So I haven't seen any of those guys that are confirmed out for the entire Six Nations, but yeah, there are a few knocks and whatnot for the Scottish squad. For Italy, I haven't seen much. I can't spell Hastings. I haven't seen much for Italy other than Spaniolo. The loose head prop is banned for at least the first 2 games, so kind of like O'Toole for Ireland. That is an interesting one because if you joined me for the Italian depth chart video the other day, Italy, I believe, only used 2 loose head props the entire season of 2024, Fischetti and Spaniolo. So no Spaniolo either means Fischetti's going to play 80-minute games, or they'll have to use somebody else in 2025, which could be a pretty interesting one, but it'll force Quesada, I guess, to at least explore a bit more of the depth going on in Italian rugby. This is by no means an exhaustive one. If you guys have got any other kind of tidbits on other guys who are in doubt or who have been ruled out or whatnot for the upcoming Six Nations, do let us know your thoughts. Who do you think is going to be the biggest miss? I am worried about the Wales injury toll. As I said, all in Type 5. And Fiwa Bossa, like I mentioned, with that X factor. I do feel like France have got the depth to replace even the likes of the veterans of Fiku and Dante and Ollivon and whatnot. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts. Six Nations, only 20 odd days away. Very much looking forward to that. Not so much kickoff times, which are going to be brutal, but it is certainly a good time to be a fan. Take care of yourselves, guys, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Yeah.